The awakening edge. The vastness of space seemed to swallow everything. Stars glimmered in the distance like watchful eyes as the massive Vrol Dominion fleet cut through the darkness with arrogant precision. Thousands of warships, each one a masterpiece of alien engineering, moved in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with a metallic purple sheen that had become synonymous with terror across 7 galactic sectors. For 3 centuries, no civilization had successfully resisted the Dominion's expansion. Admiral Zex Kaller stood on the command deck of the Eternal Subjugation, the flagship of the Dominion's 7th Annihilation Fleet. His 4 arms were clasped behind his back, secondary eyes scanning multiple tactical displays while his primary vision focused on the magnificent arrangement of his Armada. The fleet had conquered 17 systems in this campaign alone, adding their resources and subjugated populations to the ever-growing Dominion. Another primitive world awaits cleansing, Admiral, announced Sub-Commander Vesh, approaching with a formal salute. Preliminary scans indicate technological capabilities similar to other human outposts we've encountered. Nothing that poses any meaningful threat. Zex Keller's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among the Vrol. Humans, always struggling, always fighting until the very end. They never learn when to submit with dignity. He gestured toward the tactical display showing their destination. A small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system. Their main world fell 2 cycles ago. These scattered colonies are merely stubborn afterthoughts. Yes, Admiral. Intelligence suggests this colony may possess some experimental technology, but nothing that could challenge even our smallest destroyer. Begin standard annihilation protocols. I want this finished before my evening meal. Across the void, light years from the approaching Vrol fleet, sat an unassuming ship. The Reckoning Dawn was small by military standards, barely a quarter the size of the smallest Vrol destroyer. Its sleek design betrayed its human origin, but something about its hull seemed different. The surface shifted subtly, like the skin of some deep-sea creature, with microscopic patterns rearranging themselves continuously. On its bridge, Captain Alina Reyes stared at the holographic display, showing the approaching Vrol fleet. Dark circles under her eyes spoke of sleepless nights and heavy burdens. At 42, she had witnessed humanity's darkest hour, the fall of Earth, the destruction of the United Earth Defense Fleet, and the scattering of survivors across distant colonies. "They've detected us," Lieutenant Commander Jackson said, his voice tight with tension. Preliminary scans show over 3,000 warships, including their flagship. Elena nodded, unsurprised. And they're still coming straight at us. One ship doesn't even register as a threat to them. "To be fair, Captain," said Dr. Arwin Chen, the ship's chief scientist, "they don't know what one ship can do now." The dawn represented humanity's final gambit. After Earth's fall, the brightest remaining scientific minds had poured everything into one experimental vessel. The ship contained technology that even most of the crew didn't fully understand. Adaptive quantum armor, reality-phased weapon systems, and an AI integration system light years beyond anything humanity had previously achieved. "All systems are operational," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kamal from Tactical. "Adaptive shields are at full capacity, and weapon systems are primed. The Aurora I is running battle simulations with a 78% confidence rating." Elena rose from her chair, addressing the bridge crew of 15, all that remained of humanity's best. "We've run the simulations. We've prepared for this moment. The Vrol believe they've broken humanity's spirit, but they don't understand what we become when pushed to the edge of extinction." She walked to the central hologram, studying the approaching fleet. "We may be outnumbered, but the Dawn was built for exactly this scenario. Each of you was chosen because you're the best at what you do. Today, we show the Dominion what happens when they corner a species with nothing left to lose." As the Vrol fleet approached sensor range, Elena gave the order that would change the course of galactic history: initiate Phantom Protocol. The Dawn's hull shifted, the microscopic reconfiguration accelerating until the entire ship seemed to shimmer. Then it vanished from conventional detection. Admiral Zex Keller was reviewing conquest plans when the alert came. "Admiral, we've lost track of the human vessel," reported a sensor officer, confusion evident in his voice. It was their one moment, and then, incompetence, Zex Keller snarled. "A simple human ship doesn't just disappear. Check for sensor malfunctions. All systems are functioning normally." But the officer's report was cut short as the ship rocked violently. On the tactical display, one of the Dominion's heavy cruisers erupted in a brilliant explosion. Before anyone could react, two more warships met the same fate, torn apart by weapons fire from seemingly empty space. "What is happening?" Zex Keller demanded, his composure slipping for the first time in decades of military service. The reckoning dawn sliced through the Vrol formation like a phantom predator. Its adaptive quantum armor made it virtually invisible to Vrol sensors, while its reality-phase weapons bypassed enemy shields completely. The Aurora Eye calculated optimal firing solutions, faster than any organic mind could process, targeting propulsion systems, weapons arrays, and command nodes with surgical precision. Inside the dawn, Elena watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Continue the attack pattern. Focus on their support vessels and communication relays." "Captain," Jackson reported, "they're beginning to realize what's happening. They're adjusting formation to provide overlapping fields of fire." Elena nodded. "Just as we expected. Aurora, initiate countermeasure sequence Delta." The ship's AI responded in a calm, almost musical voice. "Countermeasure sequence Delta initiated, adapting hull resonance pattern to match Vrol targeting frequencies." As the Vrol ships began firing blindly into space, hoping to hit the invisible attacker, their energy weapons passed harmlessly through the Dawn's adaptive defenses. The quantum armor analyzed each attack and shifted its molecular structure to become transparent to those specific energy frequencies. "This is impossible," Zex Keller roared as more ships exploded around his flagship. "No human technology could achieve this." Sub-Commander Vesh studied the tactical display with growing horror. "Admiral, we're losing ships too quickly. Whatever this is, it's not in our records of human capabilities." The Dawn continued its deadly dance through the Vrol formation, systematically dismantling the fleet's command structure. Larger vessels began to break formation, some attempting to retreat while others fired wildly into empty space. "They're panicking," Sarah observed from tactical. "Their coordination is breaking down." Elena watched the chaos with no joy, only determination. "Target their flagship. Let's show the Admiral exactly who he's facing." The Dawn decloaked directly in front of the eternal subjugation, suddenly visible to all. Its hull now gleamed with an almost ethereal light, the adaptive surface rippling with energy patterns that defied comprehension. For a brief moment, the massive Vrol flagship and a comparatively tiny human vessel faced each other across the void. Admiral Zex Keller stared at the viewscreen in disbelief. "One ship, one human ship has done this." The Dawn opened fire. Reality-phased beams sliced through the flagship's supposedly impenetrable shields, carving precise lines across its hull. Systems failed throughout the massive vessel as the beams disrupted the very atomic bonds holding it together. "Return fire with everything," Zex Keller ordered, desperation evident in his voice. The flagship unleashed its full arsenal: energy weapons, missile barrages, and exotic particle beams, all focused on the single human vessel. The Dawn's hull rippled as it absorbed and adapted to each attack, growing stronger with every hit. "Hull integrity at 91% and stabilizing," reported Jackson. "Their weapons are becoming less effective with each volley as Aurora adapts our defenses." Elena nodded, her expression unchanged. "Continue the attack. Target their primary power core." The Dawn's weapons found their mark. Deep within the Vrol flagship, critical systems began to fail. Secondary explosions cascaded throughout the massive vessel as power conduits overloaded. On the Eternal Subjugation's bridge, Admiral Zex Keller watched his empire's invincibility myth crumble before his eyes. "What are they?" he whispered as systems failed around him. The last thing he saw before the flagship erupted in a blinding explosion was the name emblazoned on the hull of the human ship, Reckoning Dawn. As the flagship disintegrated, the remaining Vrol vessels broke formation completely. Some attempted to retreat at maximum speed, while others continued fighting in disorganized groups. The Dawn pursued methodically, disabling vessels when possible and destroying those that posed the greatest threat. 3 hours later, the space that had held the mighty 7th Annihilation Fleet was a graveyard of broken ships and scattered debris. Over 2,000 Vrol vessels had been destroyed or disabled by a single human ship. On the Dawn's bridge, the crew worked in silent efficiency, monitoring systems and assessing damage. They had won an impossible victory, but no one celebrated. This was only the beginning. Elena stood at the central hologram, reviewing the battle data. Send the signal to all remaining human colonies. Operation Phoenix is successful. The Vrol can be defeated. As the message went out, Elena gazed at the stars beyond the view screen. Humanity had been pushed to the brink of extinction, but today they had proven something that would echo across the galaxy. Underestimate humans at your peril. Set course for the Proxima colony, she ordered. We have a resistance to build. The Dawn's engines flared to life as it left the battlefield behind. The message of its victory would spread faster than any ship could travel, reaching not only human colonies but also other species subjugated by the Dominion. A spark of hope had been ignited in the darkness, a reckoning dawn for the galaxy. The Celestial Gambit. News of the impossible victory spread through the Vrol Dominion like a virus, impossible to contain. In the Grand Chamber of the Dominion's Central Command on the homeworld of Rulix Prime, Supreme Overlord Sen Malak received the reports with growing rage. Massive view screens displayed the fragmented data recovered from escape pods and damaged vessels. The loss of an entire Annihilation fleet, especially to a single enemy ship, was unprecedented in their 3,000-year history of conquest. Explain how this happened, Sen Malak demanded, his voice deceptively quiet as he addressed the gathered high commanders. His massive form, nearly 3 meters tall, dwarfed the others in the chamber. High Commander Vextful stepped forward, mandibles tight with tension. Supreme Overlord, initial analysis suggests the human vessel possesses technology far beyond what we believe their species capable of developing. The ship appears to use some form of adaptive quantum manipulation that allows it to phase partially out of conventional reality. Impossible, another commander hissed. No species at their development stage could master such technology. The evidence suggests otherwise. Vextful continued. We've analyzed the weapon signatures. They don't just bypass shields, they disrupt the fundamental forces binding matter together. The Supreme Overlord's secondary eyes narrowed as he processed this information. What of the human homeworld? Did we not reduce it to slag 2 cycles ago? We did, Overlord. However, it appears their research outposts in the outer colonies continued development. Our intelligence indicates this ship, they call it the Reckoning Dawn, was constructed in secret at their Proxima Centauri colony. Sen Malak rose to his full height, his exoskeleton creaking with the movement. I want 3 Annihilation fleets mobilized immediately. Find this ship, destroy it, and then eradicate every remaining human colony. They have become more than a nuisance. They are now a threat. Across the galaxy, the Reckoning Dawn arrived at Proxima Colony, humanity's largest remaining settlement. Unlike the pristine Vrol cities, Proxima was a patchwork of necessity, partly underground to avoid detection, with industrial facilities camouflaged as natural formations. 10,000 survivors had rebuilt here, preserving what remained of human knowledge and culture while preparing for a resistance few believed possible. As Elena walked through the colony's central hub, people stopped to stare. News of the Dawn's victory had preceded their arrival, transforming Elena and her crew from military officers to living legends overnight. They look at us like we're saviors, Elena muttered to Jackson as they made their way to the Colonial Defense Council chambers. In a way we are. he replied. You gave them something they haven't had since Earth fell: hope. The council chambers were carved directly into the moon's bedrock, a circular room with seating for representatives from all remaining human colonies. Today it was filled beyond capacity, with people standing along the walls to hear Captain Reyes's report. Dr. Chen accompanied them, carrying data crystals containing technical information on the Dawn systems. As the ship's chief scientist, he understood better than anyone the revolutionary technology that had made their victory possible. Captain Reyes greeted Council Chairwoman Diana Moore, her weathered face solemn. The Council recognizes the extraordinary achievement of the Reckoning Dawn and her crew. You've done what many thought impossible. Thank you, Chairwoman, Elena replied, taking her position at the center of the chamber. But we've only won one battle. The Dominion will respond with overwhelming force. We need to prepare. She activated a holographic display showing tactical data from their encounter. The Dawn's technology gives us an advantage, but it's not enough. We need more ships with similar capabilities. Dr. Chen stepped forward. The adaptive quantum technology can be replicated, but it requires resources we don't have in abundance. The Dawn took 3 years to build with the combined efforts of our best remaining scientists. Murmurs spread through the chamber as the reality of their situation set in. One ship, however advanced, couldn't stand against the might of the entire Dominion. There is another option, Elena continued, silencing the room. The Dawn's sensors detected something during our engagement with the Vrol fleet. Show them, Dr. Chen. Chen activated another hologram, this one showing energy readings from various points across the galaxy. These signatures match an ancient technology mentioned in archives we recovered from Earth before its fall. The precursors, a species that vanished 50,000 years ago, left outposts containing technology far beyond even what the Vrol possess. You're suggesting we seek out alien technology we barely understand? Asked Counselor Zhang, skepticism evident in his voice. I'm suggesting we use every advantage available to us, Elena responded firmly. The Vrol destroyed our world. They've systematically hunted down our colonies. Conventional tactics won't save humanity. Before the debate could continue, alarms blared throughout the colony. A communications officer burst into the chamber. Multiple Vrol fleets have been detected leaving their core systems. Our deep space relays show they're mobilizing on an unprecedented scale. Elena exchanged glances with her crew. They're coming for us. All of us. We need to evacuate the colonies and establish mobile bases, and we need to find those precursor outposts. The next 24 hours saw frantic activity across all remaining human settlements. Evacuation protocols, long established but never expected to be used, were put into action. The Dawn's technological secrets were distributed to hidden research facilities, with scientists working around the clock to replicate its critical systems. Elena stood on the Dawn's bridge, watching as transport ships departed from Proxima Colony. How long until the first Vrol fleet arrives? She asked. At their current speed, 5 days, Jackson responded. But our outer sensor boys detected something else. They've changed their approach vectors. They're not just coming to Proxima. They're targeting all known human settlements simultaneously. Elena's face hardened. They're attempting genocide, the complete eradication of our species. What's our move, Captain? Asked Sarah from Tactical. We split their focus, Elena replied, studying the tactical display. The colonies need time to evacuate. We'll give it to them by taking the fight directly to the approaching Vrol fleets. Dr. Chen looked alarmed. Captain, even with the Dawn's technology, we can't engage multiple annihilation fleets simultaneously. We won't have to, Elena said, a grim smile forming. Aurora, display the nearest precursor site coordinates. The AI brought up a star chart showing a location just 2 light-years from their current position. Precursor energy signature detected in the Barnard's star system. Signature analysis indicates 89% probability of weapons technology. That's our destination, Elena decided. If we can secure precursor weapons before the Vrol arrive, we might stand a chance. The Dawn departed immediately, its enhanced engines covering the distance to Barnard's star in less than 12 hours. What they found there exceeded even their most optimistic expectations. An ancient space station, still powered by technology that defied conventional physics, hidden within a massive asteroid. The station's still operational, Chen reported with awe as they docked. Power systems are active, and there's atmosphere inside. Elena led a team into the precursor facility, their footsteps echoing in corridors unused for millennia. The architecture was elegant and organic, with flowing lines and surfaces that responded to their presence by illuminating their path. "It's like it knows we're here," whispered Sarah, watching as control panels activated as they approached. In the central chamber, they found what they were looking for: weapons systems beyond anything humanity had ever developed. Crystal matrices containing what Chen described as weaponized reality manipulation fields lined the walls. With these, we could retrofit the Dawn's weapons to affect entire fleets simultaneously, Chen explained, examining the alien technology with growing excitement. And there's more. Information about other precursor sites, including what appears to be a shipyard. As the team worked to salvage what they could from the station, Elena received an urgent communication from Jackson aboard the Dawn. "Captain, we've intercepted Vrol communications. Their lead fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Proxima in less than 2 days." Elena looked at the precursor technology they'd discovered. "We need more time to understand this technology." "There's something else," Jackson added. "The communications mention a special weapon they're bringing, something called a reality anchor. From what we can translate, it's designed specifically to counter phase-shifting technology like ours." The Vrol had adapted faster than expected. The Dominion's vast resources and scientific knowledge had been turned toward developing a countermeasure to the Dawn's advantage. "How close are we to integrating any of this precursor tech?" Elena asked Chen. "The weapon crystals could be installed within hours, but we can't be certain how they'll interact with our systems without proper testing." Elena made her decision. "Begin installation immediately. We'll test them against the Vrol fleet." 20 hours later, the reckoning Dawn waited in the shadow of a gas giant in the Proxima system. The evacuation was still underway, with thousands of civilians yet to be transported to safety. Ahead of them, the first wave of the Vrol Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel. 5,000 warships, led by a massive dreadnought twice the size of the flagship they'd previously destroyed. They'd brought 3 times the firepower of the last fleet, Sarah reported. "And the dreadnought is carrying the reality anchor device. It's emitting some kind of field that might disrupt our phase-shifting capabilities." Elena studied the tactical display, calculating their options. "We can't fight them conventionally, even with the precursor weapons. We need something else." She turned to Chen. "You said the precursor data mentioned something about manipulating space-time fabric." He nodded cautiously. There were references to what translates roughly as cosmic folds, a way of creating localized distortions in space-time. But it's theoretical at best. "Aurora," Elena addressed the ship's AI, "analyze the precursor data on cosmic folds. Can we use their weapon crystals to create such a distortion?" The eye was silent for several seconds, an eternity for a computational system of its sophistication. "Affirmative, Captain. Reconfiguring the crystal matrices could generate a space-time distortion. However, the energy requirements would temporarily drain all systems, leaving us vulnerable for approximately 37 seconds. In battle, 37 seconds is an eternity," Jackson warned. Elena's eyes remained fixed on the approaching Armada. "We don't have the luxury of caution. Begin reconfiguration." As the Vrol fleet approached the colony, the Dawn remained hidden, making final preparations. The precursor crystals had been integrated into their weapon systems, glowing with an otherworldly light. The ship's power core hummed at maximum capacity, channeling energy into the alien technology. "All civilians are evacuated," Jackson reported. "The colony is empty." Elena nodded, relief visible on her face despite the tension. Then it's time. Take us in. The Dawn emerged from hiding, accelerating directly toward the heart of the Vrol fleet. Immediately, alerts sounded throughout the ship. They've locked onto us with the reality anchor, Sarah reported. Our phase-shifting capability is being suppressed. Without its primary advantage, the Dawn was vulnerable. Vrol weapons fire began impacting their shields, the adaptive armor struggling to compensate without the phase-shifting technology. Shields at 60% and dropping, Jackson called out. We can't take much more of this. Elena remained calm, watching as they closed the distance to the dreadnought. Maintain course. Prepare the precursor weapon system on my mark. The ship shuddered under continuous bombardment, systems failing across all decks. Emergency repairs were initiated automatically by Aurora, but the damage was mounting. Shields at 30%, hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, weapon systems failing. The reports came in rapid succession. As they approached firing range of the dreadnought, Elena gave the order. Now. The precursor crystals pulsed with blinding light as the Dawn channeled all available power into a single devastating attack. Space itself seemed to warp around the Vrol fleet as the cosmic fold began to form. Ships nearest to the distortion were stretched and twisted, their structures failing under forces they were never designed to withstand. At the epicenter, the dreadnought's reality anchor exploded as the space-time distortion overwhelmed its containment systems. The massive vessel began to break apart, massive sections twisting into impossible shapes before disintegrating completely. The effect spread outward, catching thousands of Vrol ships in its expanding radius. Those that attempted to flee found their engines incapable of outrunning the distortion wave. Within minutes, the mighty Armada was reduced to scattered debris, and a few damaged vessels limping away at sublight speeds. On the Dawn's bridge, emergency systems kept life support functioning despite the massive power drain. In the dim red glow of backup lighting, Elena surveyed the damage reports. Status, she asked, her voice hoarse from smoke inhalation. We're alive, Jackson responded, equally strained. Most systems are offline, but the reactor is stable. Casualties reported on multiple decks, but no fatalities. Elena nodded, allowing herself a moment of relief. And the Vrol fleet? Destroyed or scattered? Sarah confirmed. The space-time distortion collapsed after expanding to a radius of approximately 500,000 kilometers. Any Vrol ships within that range were either destroyed or severely damaged. As emergency power gradually restored the ship's systems, Elena considered their next steps. The victory was significant, but it had come at a cost. The Dawn would require extensive repairs before it could engage another fleet. Captain, Aurora's voice came online again. I have analyzed the battle results. The Vrol will likely reconsider their approach after 2 devastating defeats. However, my projections indicate they will not abandon their campaign against humanity. No, Elena agreed, they won't. Their pride won't allow it. But we've bought time. Time for our people to regroup, to find more precursor sites, to build more ships like the Dawn. She looked around at her crew, exhausted, injured, but unbowed. What we did here today will echo throughout the galaxy. We've shown that the Dominion isn't invincible. Other species will take notice. In the days that followed, reports confirmed her prediction. Throughout Vrol-controlled space, subjugated species began to resist their overlords. The myth of Dominion invincibility had been shattered by a single human ship, inspiring hope in countless worlds. As the Dawn underwent repairs at a hidden asteroid base, representatives from 3 alien species approached with offers of alliance. The resistance was growing. In the command center of the asteroid base, Elena studied a star chart showing precursor sites identified from the data they'd recovered. We have a chance now, not just to survive, but to liberate the galaxy from the Dominion. Jackson, his arm in a sling from injuries sustained in the battle, nodded. Not bad for a species they thought they'd wiped out. Elena allowed herself a rare smile. Humanity has always been at its best when facing impossible odds. It's not in our nature to surrender, even when logic says we should. Outside the viewport, more ships were gathering, not just human vessels, but those of other species joining the fight against the Dominion. The reckoning dawn had started something that was growing beyond anyone's expectations. The Vrol made a fundamental mistake, Alina said softly. They thought destroying our world would break us. Instead, it united us in a way nothing else could have. As she watched the growing fleet of resistance vessels, Alina reflected on the long journey ahead. The war was far from over, but for the first time since Earth's fall, the future held something more than mere survival. It held hope.